Have you ever hit post on something and instantly felt nauseous? Like your creative reputation just burst into flames? Well, same. I have. We all have. But here's the truth about that those awkward moments, that's the good stuff. That means you're growing. So, this episode's for every sports creative out there who's overthinking, doubting their skills, and wondering if they're quote unquote good enough. Because, spoiler alert, none of us felt like we were, and a lot of us still don't feel that way. But we showed up anyways, and that's the key. So let's talk about what happens when you create before you feel ready, because you don't get better by waiting. You get better by doing. Welcome back to Sports Creatives Anonymous, the support group podcast you didn't know you needed for everyone wondering if a creative career in sports is actually possible without selling your soul. I'm your host, Clayton Jones, and this episode's for anyone stuck in perfection paralysis, doubting every move, or just waiting for some mythical sign that they are quote unquote ready. And this one's for everyone, from the beginners wondering if they should do this to the salty vets who may be wondering if their skills and style are being put out the pasture. Look, every creative you follow, every team account you see, everyone making those awesome highlight videos, those eye-catching graphics, all started making cringe content, or at least what they felt was cringe content. Pat Flynn, who hosts the Smart Passive Income podcast, said it best. I just heard this not too long ago. You got to be cringe before they binge. I really like that. Cringe before they binge. I'm a sucker for rhyming. But all folks who made cringe content started unsure. They had shitty equipment with no real idea what the hell they were doing. I've been in this business 20 years, and my first game recap, honestly, terrible. My first photos were brutally grainy. I struggled with lighting. My first video edits were just, I even hate going back and look at them now. They're choppy. They don't really mesh well together. My lighting is not great. Not good. And I know the first time I started doing graphic design work, man, it looked like a preschooler was trying to cut a circle with some of the cutouts that I had with the jagged edges and whatnot. But you know what? I kept going. I slowly got better over these last 20 years or however long I've been doing whatever thing, whether it be photo, video, or whatnot. I still struggle today about being okay with it not being perfect, to be honest with you. But I realize I just need to do the best I can at that moment and hit send. Make sure I publish and keep it going. I think the big thing to remember is that confidence, if you're just waiting for your confidence to be there before you hit send, before you get started, that's just not the way it works being a creative. You're going to just have to go out there and you're going to have to hit send. You're going to have to do the work and just do it. It's kind of like a backup quarterback. They don't gain that confidence to be out there and be a game, performer until they're actually out there. They don't do it by holding the clipboard. They do it when they get out there, they step on the field, they build that confidence, even though they may throw a pick, they may get hit for the first time, but they keep getting back out there for those drives and they keep growing, they keep getting better and better and better. You could watch all the film you want, you can run with the first team in practice, but that quarterback is not going to get better until he shows up and starts doing it in game situations. So as a creator, that's what you have to do. You can plan all you want, but until you hit record, until you design something, until you publish that post, you're still on the sideline. That confidence doesn't that confidence does not come before you create. It comes because you create. Nobody ever feels ready, but all of us just started anyway. And a lot of times just being naive is your best weapon in getting started, because if you start looking at everybody else and you're trying to play the comparison game, that's a game you're always going to lose. Even myself, I would say I'm pretty good at a lot of things. Now, am I great at everything yet? No. And I kind of, embrace that in some aspects and continue to get better and know that. But also there's times, man, I see someone put out some really wicked video content and I'm like, man, I got a long way to go. And it can be deflating, but I know I need to keep posting. I know I need to keep getting better. And it's the same with this podcast, right? I need to keep doing this. This is only my third episode that I'm posting. I'm still struggling with consistency. I'm still struggling setting everything up, but I need to keep going. I don't feel really ready to be doing this, but I'm starting and I'm just going to put myself out there. And I guess before we move on to the next aspect of things, I also want to talk to the vets out there. The guys that have been out there grinding, doing the creative thing for a while, kind of like, I guess me, man, 20 plus years. That's a long time. It's easy to think that, man, is the stuff that I'm doing still relevant? Or am I being creative enough? Or am I holding on to things? I hope you're asking yourself those questions, because those are the key questions you have to ask when you've been in this business for a while, because this thing is evolving like a freight train. It feels like every year there's kind of a new thing you want to do to improve the sports creative work. You know, it used to be very high polished videos. Now it's getting a little bit more raw, but yeah, it used to be post game videos like way however long ago, you know, in front of a backdrop. I haven't done one of those in 10 years, right? Like nobody cares about those. People want to see the action. And those are the things, as I think, as we grow in this business and as people who have been in the business a long time, it's easy to get set in your ways and just kind of keep going. But we always have to look at the bigger picture, look at how things are being accepted, looking at the numbers, looking at the analytics, and continue to grow, because it's adapt or die, man. Like we got to, us dinosaurs, man, we got to keep on going. And it's weird to say dinosaurs, but this has kind of turned into a young person's game. And, you know, I like that I'm out here still kicking. And I like when I see all the other quote unquote old guys out there too. So let's keep adapting, fellas and ladies. Excuse me. Okay, moving on. Please listen carefully, everybody. This is your official permission slip to fuck up. I'm dead serious. You are allowed to mess up. Please don't think everything has to be perfect. Your mistakes evolve, not disappear, as you grow as a creative. We're always going to keep making mistakes, but it's how you handle those mistakes is what's always going to change. Instead of beating the hell out of yourself for making a mistake, you learn from it, you grow from it, you understand that, okay, this is me growing, this is me learning. Next time I won't do this. You don't want to fear the mistakes. I know it's not easy to do this. I will be the first to admit I struggle with making mistakes and letting them just hang around on me and let them beat me up for way longer than I should. And this goes into something that I definitely want to do a future podcast episode about. That is, you know, our worth being wrapped up a little bit too much in the work that we do, especially as a sports creative or working in sports in general, because it is a fun field to be in, right? It's easy to get wrapped up. It's, you know, it's entertainment for most people, and it gets to be our jobs, but it could definitely become your identity, and that becomes a dangerous thing. So, but getting back to these mistakes and whatnot, you know, there's nothing you can do once you release it to the world, right? And I'm getting better myself at realizing that. And hopefully everybody hearing this will take a deep breath when that mistake happens, or, you know, realizing once you hit send, it's out there. Yeah, you could always delete it, but, you know, mistakes are going to happen. It's just about how we handle them, right? Okay, next we're going to talk about reps being a little bit more important than just the result. Of course, you know, I'm a big fan of making sure things are correct when they go out. I think all of our bosses and clients would agree, but it's okay to post a reel that isn't your best work. It's okay to share design that you might be unsure of. It's okay to have a hype video that maybe you took a risk on, or maybe it isn't as polished as you would hope for, because reps matter more than the result. Early on especially, but overall as we continue to grow as creatives. You'll learn way more from the mistakes than you will any tutorial that you see online. Growth in this business is messy. It's public, and it can be incredibly awkward. You've chosen to, you know, all of us as sports creatives, we've chosen to do something where your work is judged by everyone. If you want a job where you know, the mistakes aren't as visible, you could pretty much do anything else in the world. You could be an accountant, you could be a banker. Only a few people are probably going to notice those mistakes if you do make a mistake. But man, when your job's working on the internet, you hit send, everybody's going to see if you messed up. And they're going to probably let you know that you messed up and what an idiot you are. God knows I've done it. I've misspelled team names in posts before. I've left blank spaces in the middle of my video that I forgot to go through and tighten up. But guess what? Shit happens. The best thing you do is own it. Be accountable for the mistake. If someone makes a snide comment on social media, have a little fun with it and lean into it. Make a little fun of yourself. As long as it's obviously respectful and whatnot. But I think a little humor goes a long way when a mistake happens, especially in sports, right? We're not doctors. This isn't life or death for the most part, right? It's have some fun with it, but the big thing is to fix it, learn from it, and move on. The move on part, I'm still working on a little bit because I'll let things, like I said before, hang with me a little bit. But I know as I continue maybe to say this out loud, it'll help me, and hopefully it helps some of you knowing that even after 20 years, there's times that I still struggle with it. All right, this next part here, if you're just getting started in the business, I cannot stress this hard enough. Reps are better than your resume. Volume is better than perfection, and effort is better than equipment. Obviously, we talked about reps. People are going to want to see the work that you're doing and not just, the degree you have. In this business, a lot of it is show, right? We want to see what you do. Volume over perfection obviously has to do much more with putting out a lot of content, man. Just keep grinding it out. Put out content. Don't try to do like 3 posts that are absolutely perfect. Do 10 posts. That's how you're going to get better. Just keep pumping them out. Keep pumping them out. And don't worry about waiting for you to get the best equipment in the world. Just if you go out there and show consistency and show that effort, that's way better than any equipment will prove to somebody. I could tell, I know as somebody who hires somebody, I could tell like, okay, they don't maybe have the best equipment, but they're getting to the right spots. They're getting to wherever. If I stick a good camera in their hand, they're going to give me great work, great creative work. And I want to see effort for myself when I'm hiring somebody. Because I think the big thing at the end of with all of this about the reps and whatnot, I always feel like if, you're pumping out 50 posts, it's that 51st one, right? That might finally pop off and you kind of find your groove and everything else. It's one of the aspects I enjoy about being at the Division II level where I work currently. While it's a ton of, responsibility being the only full-timer, I get to create nearly every day, especially in season, right? If I do something and it sucks, I get to try something new and do something different. That's the great part about this, right? It's almost like baseball. 162 games, man. If I go 0 for 3 one day, guess what? I got another game the next day. So that's kind of the way my attack towards it, and I try to take more and more risks, and I'm getting better at that as I get more confident with what I do. And I think going back to consistency, being better than perfection. Our job is to build the habits, build our tastes, and build a skill set. And you're not going to go viral every time. It's just not going to happen. But you don't have to be flawless. Keep grinding it out because that volume builds instinct and creative confidence, right? It's after years of doing this, I could see a play happen, and instantly in my brain, I know like how I want to present this play creatively. It's something like early on I couldn't really do. I would get all the highlights afterwards and I'd look and then I'd like, oh, this would be kind of do this way. But now I could be in the game and see a dunk happen, see a home run happen, and just know with the film that I got that, oh, I'm going to do this way. And that's just what happens over time and reps and growing as a creator. And I think that growth comes with reps. All right, we're going to hit back on the point about evolving as a creator and just that you are allowed to evolve as a creator, right? You're going to outgrow your own work and your own workflow. This is mainly for us old dogs that are out here grinding still, but this also holds true to you youngsters who probably don't even remember a time you didn't have the internet in your pocket and never had to tell your sister or brother to get off the phone so you could use the internet. No, really. Like that. The internet used to go through a phone that was plugged into a wall. Um, I'm not even kidding. Ask your parents' kids. Anyways, a big thing for us, and a big thing I think in this business is don't cling to styles, habits, or just same expectations that people are going to consume content the same way, right? Like it just felt like a few years ago, making it a minute, 2 minute, 3 minute highlight video after games was kind of the thing you did. Um, but now it's, man, we're just going to put these like 15 to 30-second clips together, just one play, do many posts instead of one long post. It's it's something that we have to continue to keep a finger on the pulse on, is how people are consuming content, whether we're doing video, photo, graphic design, if you're in sports information, doing communications, anything. We got to figure out and remember how people, or not remember, but study how people are consuming content. Look at the analytics. It used to be writing big previews, right? And all these game notes, and it used to be a big thing. And I know a lot of the old school folks like doing it still. And maybe at the Division One level, it's still a big thing. Uh, but for me, at the Division Two level, it's just looking at the analytics. I was doing that a couple years ago, even still. And even this last year, I was still doing previews and bigger, style previews, and it just wasn't hitting. It wasn't hitting. So, I'm reevaluating how I want to approach the content, because I want to use my time as efficiently as possible and most bang for the buck. And so we have to evolve. And evolving is, growing, right? And that means learning new tools, trying new formats, and shifting your vibe a little bit in your tastes, in what you're doing. Sorry to tell everybody, but AI is here. There's a lot of different forms. It's been here for a while, but it's becoming more and more prevalent. And instead of being afraid of it and thinking, "Oh gosh, it's the end of the world. It's going to replace us?" No, it's not coming for all of our jobs. It's going to make our jobs easier, I believe. And instead of taking all the time to create, it's now being a taste maker and understanding what looks good, what to ask AI, knowing what's going to look good and hit with people, um, is going to be the big thing in the future as AI grows and it makes our jobs easier. There's been many instances throughout time where, the digital camera, right? That was like, oh my gosh, now it's just as easy to do this. You don't have to do the photos. Anybody could just snap a bunch of pictures, but it didn't, you know, eliminate the photographer. Not everybody could go out there and get the right shots and know where to be and use the right settings and whatnot, right? It's about knowing the equipment. It's about knowing what to do with it. And that's still going to be the case. I don't want to come across like I'm this always going with the times, always changing, always evolving. No, it's hard, man. Like, it's hard for me sometimes to evolve with everything. I'll admit something that I probably have not done yet that I should have done a few years ago at least. Um, yeah, digital cameras, right? Awesome, great. I've learned how to work them. I know how to use them for the most part, but I still haven't. I've had the capability to have the Wi-Fi where it goes directly to my phone or my laptop and probably save a ton of time. I have not sat down and done that yet to figure out how to make that happen. Um, it's on my list. It's things I want to do, but yeah, it's hard to keep up with everything. And there's just certain workflows that I have that I'm just used to and I feel comfortable with, but I do need to get out of that. It's probably going to make my job easier. It's probably going to make me be able to create content that much faster. And I know it's something I need to do. So, I'm far from perfect myself with all this stuff. But I think the big thing about all of this is being a student of your craft. It's follow other accounts, steal other people's, excuse me, be inspired by others and put your own spin on it. Is that the right thing to say? Right? That's what I'm supposed to say. Um, I often look at many other people's posts, other people's videos, other people's things, and I'm not going to ever directly rip them off, but I will be the first to admit that if I see something, I'm like, oh, cool. How did they do that? And then I figure out how they do that. And then I make my own spin on doing that, figure out my own little twist on it, and use it for my own creative projects. So I think that's important because I think, you know, acting like we're going to have these original thoughts with everything is just not feasible. We need to be able to look at things and be inspired. I think that's what it is, right? Like I really don't mean stealing. That was a joke, but it is being inspired by other people's work, and I think that will take you a long way in being creative in your own ways. So a good, I think, benchmark to see if you're evolving and growing is if you look at work from a few years back or many years back and it kind of makes you cringe, kind of gives you that ick factor, right? Uh, I recently had this happen to me. I was going through some of my things and I found a poster, one of the first posters I made at Dodge City Community College back about 10 years ago when I first kind of made the switch from journalism to collegiate athletic communications. And I was just so proud of this poster. I remember making it going, man, I've never made something so cool looking, everything else. I pulled it out and I'm like, oh my God. It would not pass the sniff test for me today, right? It was just not good, not good at all. But at the end of the day, it kind of, I've realized that it showed me how far I've come as a creative in these last 10 years. Um, and I kind of hope 10 years from now, I just made a set of all of our fall posters for our fall sports season coming up. I hope 10 years from now, I look at those posters and go, oh my God, what was I thinking, right? That's, I think for all of us creatives, we want to continue to improve and grow. And if we're not looking back at our stuff and going, oh man, I've come a long way, then you're probably not evolving. So how do we continue to evolve, right? That's kind of the thing. Like, how do we continue to get better? What are some ways we can stay sharp no matter what level we're at, whether we're just getting started, whether you're, been in the game a few years, or if you're a veteran? Like, what do we do? I think one of the first things is to make content just for you, not for a client, not for the school you work for, not for the team you work for. Just some no pressure content. I think that's something that will get those creative juices flowing. I know I need to be better at that, but something I've been doing the last few months is creating content of my cats. Yeah, I'm a cat dad. I got 3 fur children, along with 1 human daughter. Uh, but those cute, fuzzy little hellions are so much fun to shoot. And I know I have a lot of different ideas I want to do, continuing to grow. And yes, they all 3 have social media, Instagram accounts. So yeah, we are those cat parents. Okay, I think another way we can stay sharp is to collaborate with somebody, whether even if they're younger than you, they're older than you. I know I have no shame in my game. There's a lot of people in this business that are younger than me that are better than me than at a lot of these things that I do. And I love picking their brains. I love kind of figuring out what to do. In my current position as the head of a athletic communications department at a Division II school, I often have to still hire somebody to shoot photos because I gotta get behind a stat computer or do PA or do something else. And I have one main guy I use right now. His name's Eddie Bruning. I'm hoping to have him on a podcast. He doesn't know this yet, but have him on as a guest down the road once I get a little more comfortable and kind of get in the flow with this podcasting stuff. But anyways, he shoots a ton of stuff for us, especially our media day stuff, because I'm not super comfortable with lighting in terms of kind of studio shots, but he absolutely kills it for us. The students love him. I really enjoy having his work, and I pick his brain all the time about shots and equipment, and he's always so helpful and so kind about it. And he's in his early 20s. I'm probably 20 years older. I could be his dad. He's younger than my daughter. But I learned from him, and I think we have to be humble. You have to, if you want to get better in this business, you can't think you know everything. All right, a third thing you could do to stay sharp and continue looking to evolve is document your process, not just posting the final product. That means, doing some behind the scenes footage, or BTS if you're in the know with the lingo. do some time lapse stuff and screenshot maybe while you're doing a graphic design project, or maybe do a tutorial on something that you're confident in. Or even if you're not completely confident in it, doing a tutorial will actually help you grow and learn more about that process. Um, I know it's something I want to do more of on all of them. I did a time lapse of one of my graphic design projects pretty recently that I posted on my account. Um, I want to do more behind the scenes stuff. I'm still trying to get better at having pointing a camera at myself in public. That still feels kind of awkward to me. But I'm getting through that. I'm getting better, and I would love to eventually create a vlog, maybe even if it's not something I, you know, promote, even if it's just for me. I just think it's something cool to kind of have, and I think it will help me grow as a creator to learn these different tactics and different things. And I think the last thing that we can do as creators to stay sharp and continue to evolve is set creative challenges for yourself. Tell yourself, I'm going to post 1 reel a week or 5 reels a week. I'm going to trial one style, do something different creatively 1 time a month. I'm trying to do this with my podcast right now, is post once a week, and I'm kind of still struggling. Some days it's like 6-7 days. Sometimes it's almost 10 days. I'm still trying to figure out days of the week when I'm going to release this, finding the time to do it. It's still a little bit more time consuming, but I'm slowly getting faster at it. But I'm getting there with it. It's a goal of mine that I do want this to be a weekly podcast. I do eventually want to have guests on. I do eventually have a lot of create a community, right? I want us to grow as a community as sports creatives and feel like you have a home, you have a place here. And so as I continue to try to do that, I need to build more consistency in this podcast. I always think these kind of goals for yourself, it's kind of like if you're a runner and you sign up for a 10K race, right? You're going to start doing the work to get to that race. Or if you're going to run a marathon, right? You know how much work that goes into that. So setting that goal for yourself is an easy way to continue to hit different benchmarks and get to that goal. Here's the truth that I wish somebody had told me as a young creative. Nobody's going to hand you that confidence. Nobody's going to give you the blueprint on how to, quote unquote, make it. Nobody's going to give you permission to call yourself a creative. You just have to be one. You have to decide that you're going to be one and then prove it to yourself and then go out there and do it every damn day. So you got to show up. You're going to mess up. You got to learn and repeat. That's how you level up in this business. If this episode hit home for you, do me a big favor. Follow or subscribe to the podcast at Sports Creatives Anonymous on social media, YouTube, and or whatever app you're using to listen to my voice right now. Or you could follow my personal account at Clayton in Focus. Share this with a sports creative that might just need that little push to get out of their own way. Also, feel free to DM me. I'd love to hear maybe things that are holding you back or any other questions or topics you'd love to see on a future episode. So this is Sports Creatives Anonymous. Remember, you don't need permission. Just start.